What's happening? Yeah, I got a message for you. How couldn't I? Today, right now, I use the time driving to talk to you about synchronicities and dreams. And these are messages from the collective unconsciousness. This is a concept developed by Carl Gustav Jung, because Carl Gustav Jung himself got visions and dreams, and he was a psychologist that knew about what psychosis looks like, and he was afraid. He was getting psychotic. And then he explored the world of his own psyche, and he also researched with his patients and explored mythology. Anyway, he developed this concept, and think of it like your consciousness is an ocean. The ocean is penetrated by sunlight, and the part that is within the light is your consciousness. There are swarms and sea life, and this is your emotions and thoughts. There might be currents. You can see the currents and the waves as emotions, and the sea life as thoughts. And in the day and night cycles, some animals go into the depth and some rise from the depth. And this is your subconscious thoughts coming to the surface and your conscious thoughts diving into the depth. And this is why you dream of things that you are not aware of in the daytime, okay? Now, the zone that is in complete darkness with bioluminescent life, this is your subconsciousness, okay? So what is the collective subconsciousness? You should explore the field of epigenetics to understand that our memories and experiences can influence our DNA, and this also explains why we have sometimes memory or knowledge or instincts that we couldn't, that doesn't make sense. We know this. So where do we know this from? Why are we afraid of a snake? Naturally. Why do we have natural, deep-seated fears, and so on? But it can extend to different things that make less sense, because the snake, of course, can be an imprint in our brains, because it just makes sense to be afraid of snakes, and people who have the right reaction to seeing a snake are better adapted to their environment, and this is why it accumulated in the DNA. But epigenetics tells us that even individual experiences can influence the DNA, and this could be a representation of a collective subconsciousness in the physical world. But it is rather that what Carl Gustav Jung discovered or described or suggested rather is a psychological model about collective unconsciousness. And it means that when we go deeper even than the subconsciousness in this ocean, we get into an area that we share with the collective, but not everybody has access to that, okay? I'm not a clinician, I'm not a psychotherapist, as I have already told you often enough. But I believe there's people who lose access to certain emotions, so emotional disordered people, like personality disordered people can lose contact to parts of their own identity or emotions or consciousness. And in other words, not everybody has entrance to the consciousness, to the subconsciousness, or the collective subconsciousness. So it's an individual thing. And our life today, we are trained to use the sympathetic side, just one brain half. I don't know which side it is right now. I'm not prepared for this talk, in every detail. But the cognitive, logical, calculating side of the brain, not the emotional one, not the intuitive one. We learn at school that we should only trust what we can see, what we can count, what we can make a picture of and load it on IG, what we can sell, what gives us an immediate outcome, and so on. So the opposite of intuition, the opposite of feeling something. When you develop your intuition, it simply means that you learn to trust immediately in your feeling, because what it is, intuition and emotion, is an immediate information about something that we perceive. So we see something in the world, a situation, we get a signal. It can be that some body tries to deceive us. It can be we have just a normal human interaction. It can be we see an animal. It can be we have an experience of seeing something that has a representation in the realm of archetypes, symbols, myth, which means there is a representation of this both in our DNA and probably also in the suggested collective subconsciousness. And to get back to the metaphor of the ocean, it would be an area when we go even deeper than the subconscious mind that is not penetrated by sunlight, so we're not consciously aware of it. It would mean that there is an area where all the oceans are connected. So there are thoughts, there are sea life that is being shared amongst everybody, okay? And this is why everybody understands the language of symbols, okay? So archetypes traverse the boundaries of language and culture. So it doesn't matter to what culture you go, the archetype of a warrior is always the same. The archetype or what an animal represents is always the same. By the way, an archetype is simply a set of skills that work well together. It's a build that works in our universe, in our world. We have a world that is governed by certain rules. We have the gravity. We need oxygen to live, so there are common things. And within this world, there is nothing that is perfect, because every design has advantages and disadvantages. So a wing can help an animal to fly, but you can't fight very well with a wing. So an animal that has wings and tries to fight with it will die and cannot contribute to the DNA pool. In other words, a build, an archetype, a set of skills that works needs a lot of synergies. So to make sense, so to make the wing count, it must be an animal that can capitalize and leverage on that wing. So it needs behaviors, it needs to make use of the wing. All right, so you know what I'm saying? And this means archetypes are sets of skills that work well together. So if we look at the lion has a higher, especially the male one, has more aggression than another animal. Okay, they take more risks. They are more confronting. They don't walk towards something they don't circle something. They go straight. When they hear something, they don't stand up and run away like a deer would. They confront it, and so on until, and it goes to the biology of the animal. So the lion does not have a stomach that can digest grass. Okay, so he has a less weight in his body, in his stomach, because it's easy to digest the meat, and this makes him a better predator. All right, but to be a good predator, he needs the aggression. But to be a good predator, he also needs the claws, and he has the mane and the fur that protects him, and so on and so on. It's a build that works well together, okay? So archetypes. And now, in the collective unconsciousness, these builds that work well together exist there, okay? And when you dream of something, or when these things, they can also come into your life when you're awake as synchronicities. And this is where I wanted to go. I just wanted to tell you that currently, for me, the mountain seems to come into my life as synchronicities, which means other people, circumstances shift my awareness on mountains. And a mountain stands for identity in my, a mountain after Jungian symbolism stands for many things, divine power and many things. But what resonates with me at the moment is just the identity core. A mountain consists of stone, and stone is something that is persistent, okay? A stone has been there yesterday, a stone is there in the present, and a stone will be there tomorrow. So this is why it stands for consistent identity. And it also, in this case, stands for reality, because a person that is delusional, that is fantasizing their own identity and then needs the external validation, we went on this often enough, they can change quickly. They are not like a stone. They are not rock solid. They are shape-shifting. Yeah, but the stone, not. So the stone stands for persistence, and we need to have identity. It means we have a memory, which means we can imagine a past. We have an idea of how we perceive time, and there is something that is consistent, and this is our core personality. It can slowly grow and change, but it cannot shift. So we have our senses, our sensual perception. This is the presence, when we're in the present moment. But we have a memory to create a past, and we have imagination to create the idea of a future. And this is connected for me to the archetype of the mountain. And a mountain does not need external validation. Its sheer, pure, self-aware presence surpasses the need for external validation, okay? Yeah. Just saying how synchronicities work, what archetypes are. And also, I had a dream. I, by the way, also just opened another video that I had. It's about a dream with a wasp. So if you check it out in my videos, it's a dream about the wasp in the narcissus. It's an interesting dream about narcissistic abuse, basically, that I had. But today I had another dream. And this dream today, it was about a private sphere that I had in a shared space with people who manipulated me and infiltrated my life in a malignant way. And I would encourage you to charge at shadows, also at projected shadows, which means you face your fear and you deal with reality. So when you dream of something or someone who infiltrated your boundaries, who destroyed your privacy, and then you dream of this, I would suggest to you to start trying to confront these people in the dreams. And this is actually what I did. I kind of conquered back this space that has been invaded, but then I tried to confront the person and talk to them in a confronting, straight way. But interestingly, I had no voice. I wanted to talk, but my voice was not there. And this, I can learn from this. I can interpret this dream for myself. Yeah, by the way, I was cooking coffee and tidying up coffee, so there was coffee everywhere. So I first had to tidy up this kitchen where I cooked coffee, but I also was communicating my presence there. But I also felt this fight and flight response that has been coerced on me. By the way, coercive control can be an extension of manipulation. When you're resistant to manipulation, the manipulative people have to force themselves harder on you. They have to manipulate, they have to start to manipulate all parts of your life so that you understand that they are superior to you, so that you understand that you have to be afraid of them, and you have to understand that you have to be ashamed that you deal with people who repress shame and anxiety. This is so coercive control is for those who insist of being individuals and who resist to succumb, to devote to the narcissistic cult, to the shared fantasy. Now in this dream I had no voice, but this is changing the frequency of anxiety to courage. It's changing the vibration of the frequency. So you have to get from anxiety or from obedience, from coercion, from buying the shared fantasy, to having the courage to reject it and to claim back your powers and authority and privacy. Okay. Yeah, so I had a dream, and my voice was not there, and I had to get it back. I had to get back my voice, and I did in this dream. But this is work. This is inner work. This is shadow work, to confront the shadows. Another dream could be you are running in a absolute darkness, in a labyrinth of absolute darkness, chasing someone who chased you. It means you turn the roles of the predator and you try to chase this person, but it's completely dark, so you have to only rely on your hands. But this is the right frequency. This is courage. This means you confront. It's just a covert spirit, the hyper-competitive spirit that does not really want to compete with you. They try to erode the competition. They try to destroy the competition, okay? So I just wanted to share my thoughts of and about archetypes and dreams and symbolism. Symbols, the language that is rooted in the collective subconscious, that is rooted in mankind, and everybody understands it, from every country, from every culture, whether child, whether woman, whether man, right? Yeah. So stay blessed on this Friday the 13th, and don't let nobody deceive you.